We're back to Kemi Badenoch, I'm afraid. And her rise to lead the Conservative Party was seen by some as a moment of reinvention. They're crazy. Well, reinvention, absolutely, on a downward spiral. A signal, they hope, to unite the right. Yes, but unite the right going down, not going up. And it signalled, the aim was to sharpen the Tory identity, to countersteer Keir Starmer's Labour with a fresh approach. Yet her tenure so far has exposed not just her inadequacy as a leader, but a profound mismatch between her self-professed intellectualism and the practical demands of opposition politics, because it's not what you claim to be in politics, particularly at the top level of politics in Westminster, is how you are perceived and how you manifest yourself, how you perform. And she performs appallingly. At Prime Minister's Questions, week after dreary week, traditionally a gladiatorial combat, a contest to hold the government to account, has instead become a weekly exercise in mediocrity under Badenoch's stewardship. It doesn't help that Keir Starmer is pretty awful as well. That Keir Starmer doesn't do that sort of exchange well. It's extraordinary for somebody who was a senior barrister. Keir Starmer does the analytical summing up brilliantly, but he doesn't deal with people well. And reading scripted, stilted questions by Badenoch that could have been penned by a particularly unimaginative twit, or even ChatGPT, some sort of chatbot, she fails to capitalise on Keir Starmer's evident vulnerabilities. Keir Starmer's vulnerability is people. And these big grandstanding moments. And the weekly Prime Minister's Questions does not play to his strengths. And yet, Kemi Badenoch allows him to score again and again and again, as he reads himself from a script, because she is so bad. And the comparison with Liz Truss, I think, is apt, because it's almost as if she has taken advice from Liz Truss, or even got Liz Truss to write her scripts. Badenoch mirrors Liz Truss's rhetorical posturing, stiff, overly ideological, devoid of any improvisational flair. And her refusal to engage with any substance or to land any meaningful blows against Starmer suggests either a lack of strategic thinking. Actually, I don't even know why I embellished that word. It suggests either a lack of thinking or a deliberate attempt to avoid scrutiny, to be held to account herself. If her aim is to emulate Thatcherite conviction, she has instead channeled Truss-era obliviousness. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage, the spectre haunting British politics, has seized the political oxygen that Badenoch needs. Reform UK has not only siphoned off voters, but has captured the imagination of the Tory grassroots and the disillusioned donors. Farage's TikTok theatrics and grassroots campaigning have rendered Badenoch a footnote in her own narrative as she flounders to distinguish herself from her more populist rival. And it's not as if Farage is really good. It's just that Farage is all there is. Badenoch's unwillingness or inability to articulate clear policies compounds her problem. Her anti-woke stance, while energising to a subset of her party, has alienated centrists and left her exposed to accusations of pandering. Her fixation on single-sex toilets and cultural validity feels niche when the country is grappling with stagnant wages, NHS crises, spiralling migration figures, and a sense that we are heading into a void, as well as the international crisis, the lack of funding for our army. Where is her coherent vision? Because she has none. And what is so extraordinary is the moment jenrick opened his mouth, he is headline news, like Farage. The answer seems that she is lost in a haze of ideological sound bites. She actually seems to believe her own rubbish. Badenoch's allies claim she is biding her time. They're like some sort of hen hatching an egg. I'm afraid it's gone off. Time isn't a luxury that she can afford. Local elections loom, and every misstep strengthens Farage's position. And yet she's looking forward to the next general election. You won't see it. She will not see the next general election in tenure, either because the Conservative Party will have skidded to a grand halt or because she will have been replaced. Her hesitation to engage with the media, her thin-skinned responses to criticism, signal a leader completely out of her depth, and even her internal support within the party is tenuous, built on the flimsiest of majorities during her ridiculous leadership bid. And the point about all this is that there's an article this afternoon. Let me see if I can find it, by Jonathan Vincent in the Financial Times, and he asks whether or not she is the person to lead the right in Parliament. She couldn't lead her way out of a handbag. Even her internal support in the party is tenuous, built on the flimsiest of majorities, and the Conservative Central Office would not have chosen her. I've had that discreetly from a source. Nobody likes her. They might like her personally. I mean, I'm sure personally she's an absolute scream. But as a leader of a political party, she is a disaster. And for all Starmer's faults, and there are many, he can rest easy knowing that his chief opponent is, as one commentator aptly put it, a leader who couldn't function in the real world. If the Conservatives are to recover, they need more than rhetoric. They need relevance, they need clarity, they need conviction. And under Badenoch, they risk further fragmentation and irrelevance. They risk being eclipsed by Reform UK, or even, God forbid, by the Lib Dems. A historic party undone by its own misjudgments, undone by its own sense of self-importance, undone by its own desperation to be perfect. In searching for perfection, they have lost all understanding of what good there is. There is some good in the party, just as there's some good in almost every single party across Westminster. But it's not in Kemi Badenoch. There is nothing good that can come of Kemi Badenoch's leadership. She'd be better off going to the back benches and doing something constructive from the back. But trying to lead from the front, that's not her place. Her place is the backside.